A video arcade in the palm of your hands? Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm looking at this. This is the Blast from AtGames, the Bandai Namco Flashback. And it is basically a little wireless HDMI receiver and a handheld controller transmitter. And you put these together, you plug this into your television via the HDMI connection. You add power, most likely you will need to, I needed to, but possibly your TV actually powers HDMI, in which case you don't need anything other than this. But basically you plug this into your TV, you turn this on, and you are ready to go with a whole bunch of really classic video games right straight out of the arcade. Sort of. Now, let me tell you some of the specs, but before we get there, let's go ahead and just jump right in. I'm going to switch over to my TV, and you can see a couple of these games in action, and you can see how rusty I am at playing these games. Oh my gosh. Anyway, here we go. So here's the main screen. You can see we have Pac-Man, Galaxian, Mappy, Dig Dug, Galaga, Sky Kid, and then on the next screen we have the Tower of Druaga and Xevious. And they're all pretty darn solid implementations. So let's go ahead and we'll just give Pac-Man a shot. So you can see on the lower corner that it tells you what to do. And assuming you can read the buttons, you can go ahead and push them. And there we go. So I pressed A, and we will start Pac-Man momentarily. I will warn you, I am not necessarily the best player with these games. And let's see, so now we push start, and we'll see if I remember. Now, notice what you're not hearing, is you're not hearing any audio. As far as I can tell, the entire system lacks audio. I don't know whether they just didn't pay to license it or what the deal is, but my system certainly is quite capable of giving us audio, but it's not in here. Oops, that was actually very poorly played, wasn't it? So let's go back and we'll give another game a shot. So I pushed menu, and now I get these options. So I'll choose C, which quits and takes us back to the main screen. And now I can try Galaxian. Actually, we'll try Galaga. That's a pretty classic game there. So I'll select that. And again, I will push the start button, and it gets out of focus, it gets back in focus. We're good, right? So now, one player, start, and okay, it should start momentarily. Here we go, stage one, and I'm really bad at this game. So, A shoots, and this is basically, there's a whole series of video games in this era that were all basically stealing ideas from each other. And this is the aliens are coming. I don't know why they look like bugs, but they're coming, and you have to shoot them before they actually try to get you. So you can see there are the bad guys on the top, and you basically just have to stay alert because they're gonna keep coming at you and you're gonna die like that. So we'll give this one more ship because, as I said, this isn't necessarily my game. Let's see how we do here. Okay, all right, fine. We will go and we'll try one more game. Okay, now let's see, what should we try? Let's try the Tower of Druaga. Now here's the thing, is that none of these games actually have any instructions or tips or anything about how to play. So you're kind of on your own with them. I don't entirely know what the heck I'm doing with most of these games. I mean, obviously like Pac-Man is pretty obvious, but a game like this, apparently you are trying to get the key and avoid the blobs. So, and then the A button actually gives you the ability to attack, but not consistently. So sometimes the blobs, I think actually they are green rats. They're not actually blobs, but I think sometimes the rats just get you. So, you know, it's a little maze, and obviously I can't go that way. I'll have to go this way. And now I have to figure out what to do with the rat. And you can see I'm pushing different buttons, but I seem to be getting the same result. So maybe, you know, it's one of these things where, uh-oh, I'm trapped. That's bad. Let's see if I can get it. See, now sometimes I think if I'm attacking while I'm moving, then that's more effective. There we go. Oh, no, but the third time that didn't work. So I cannot explain to you what happened there because I don't know how the game works. But I will note, actually, let's back up just a little bit when we get back to here. Let's go to one more game so you can see what it looks like. But I want to notice or note to you that there are some nifty little features here that are not normally part of these games. So for example, when I'm playing, if I actually choose menu, I have the option of saving and loading. So I can actually save particularly good levels and go right back to that level, which is definitely not part of the original game design. And then there's also a rewind button. So if we go back to where we were and then I push rewind, then I go back here, you can see on the top left there's a little timer. So basically I'm starting over. So we'll start over with Dig Dug. Again, I have no idea what I'm trying to accomplish here, so I'm just going around and digging things, and I think there's presumably something hidden that maybe I'm supposed to find. I don't know. Maybe I should have done a little bit of homework here, but in any case, I think the important thing is you can see how these work. Oh, and that guy got me there. Oh, see, there's a carrot right there. Well, the carrot is no longer there. That's kind of a drag. So, I don't know. I'll just keep digging holes and hopefully avoiding all the bad guys, and maybe not. So, you know, it works. It's a fairly rudimentary setup. But here's the thing, is that there's a huge issue with arcade versions of games versus the NES version of games. And this is where AtGames has not done anyone any favors. What they did was, with the initial wave of reviewers, they sent out a copy, a sort of prototype copy of this system that actually had the arcade code on it. So it was actually really cool. And they did some really nice demos, and people gave it really great reviews and said, this is ridiculously cheap for what you're getting here. And in fact, even on the back of the package, these photos are actually from, as far as I can tell, the arcade versions of the games. But the game that you buy, the setup that you get, are actually the NES ROM chip software. So whatever you want to call it, they are actually the inferior versions of all of these games. And that's a drag, because there's a lot to like about this. I mean, you know, the wireless controller, the 720p redo of all the games so they look good on a modern television, the save and load game features, the rewind feature if you just got crushed by a boss or something, you know, all the games that are included. And let's go through that list again just so it's here in the video, is Dig Dug, Galaga, Galaxian, Mappy, Pac-Man, Spy Kid, the Tower of Druaga, and Xevious. Really a nice, pretty nice little setup there, right? But obviously I had sound issues. You still have to figure out how to power this thing. And I have to admit, listen, there's something, some loose screw or something in my controller, and this is not a sign of good quality control. I thought maybe it was something to do with how they shipped the product, but short of me unscrewing and disassembling the whole thing, which I should not have to do, I don't know what's going on. But to be entirely fair, it's also ridiculously inexpensive. So given the price, this is really like the price of a couple of rolls of, actually maybe just one roll of quarters, and you get all these games with this wireless setup, and you can play it 1,000,000 times if you want to. So there's the trade-off. Now, before I tell you what the price is and talk just a tiny bit more, let me ask, can you go ahead and subscribe to my channel? Really appreciate when you do that. And, you know, give me some feedback. Are you really just super upset that they sort of suggest that there's arcade versions of the games, but they're just shipping the NES versions? Let me know. So now let's go back and talk about the price, right? So this is the Blast, and sorry, this is the Bandai Namco Flashback Blast starring Pac-Man from AtGames, and it is at the cheapest I could find online was $14.99 at Bed Bath & Beyond. So for 15 bucks, this is actually not a bad deal. you know, go into it with your eyes open and recognize that they've done a lot of neat little technology with the wireless transmitter and receiver and everything. And by the way, the little handheld controller takes a couple of AA batteries that you'll have to supply yourself. But you know, yeah, it has that little loose bit, which is super annoying, and I couldn't get sound to work. Other people have gotten sound to work, so I don't know what the deal is with my TV, but so it goes. Nonetheless, for $14.99 for a stocking stuffer, for somebody to entertain the little ones for a couple hours, hopefully, you know, this is not an entirely bad deal. So that's my sort of lukewarm review of this. I would say that if you're a hardcore fan and you really wanted to get to those classic arcade games, this is not, unfortunately, your product. But if you're just looking for something where you can put Pac-Man on your TV without buying a $500 video system, then this is a solution. This is something you might want to check out. So that's about as enthusiastic as I can get, so I'll catch you in my next video.